WWE Superstar Spotlight Series, episode number 14 this round. And this time, we're talking about Owen Hart. Now, Owen Hart, to me, was one of the greatest in-ring performers of all time. I know I say that about, but it's true. Owen Hart was absolutely amazing. And as a babyface, he was good. But to me, Owen really started to shine when he was a heel. When he took on Brett, and Brett allowed him to go over on, and really established him as one of the greatest heels in WWE history. And actually, was WWF, I should say, back in the day, because it was WWF back in the day. It was not the actual WWE. WWE hadn't changed yet to actually WWE from WWF, so it was actually World Wrestling Federation back then. But Owen, the whole King of Hearts thing, the gimmick, the best heart there ever was, the best there is, the best there was, best there will be. He stole that from Owen, or from his brother Brett, and he went in as the King of Hearts. Owen shined so much as a heel. He really was probably one of the best as a heel. I was fortunate to see Owen back in the early 90s I think it was mid to late 90s, actually. I was able to see Owen a couple of years before his, maybe about 3 or 4 years before he actually passed away, and I'll get into that in just a second. But actually, we were there for an actual WWF house show, where they usually taped like the episodes of WWE Super or WWF. I'm sorry, the WWF house show, where they take and recorded like episodes of WWF superstars back in the day, and they recorded like multiple interviews and matches and stuff for like Coliseum video they had back in the day. But Owen was there with Yokozuna. They were tag team champs back then, so like I said, it had to be like the mid to late 90s, I think, is when they were tag team champions. Don't quote me on the date, but I think it was that time. But anyway, they were there with Jim Cornette. They were doing an interview there with in the ring, and I was very fortunate to see Owen. I actually not sure where they are. I don't know where they are, but I have pictures of Owen and Yokozuna with Jim Cornette in the ring. We got some really good seats there close to ringside, because back in the day they were at the Canton Civic Center in Canton, Ohio. We'd go there every single time. They'd usually have matches or a match card. WWF would come in. They usually had them there for like maybe once or twice a month, sometimes 3 times a month. And they'd have them there. And we used to go there. We used to go to those, every time they'd have them, we used to go there. The tickets used to be dirt cheap back in the day, because, WWE wasn't really or WWF back in the day wasn't really a mainstream global entertainment company as they are today here in the, in 2019, or, going forward. They'll still be that great global company, broaden their, their ways and stuff like that. But Owen, to me, just absolutely killed it in many aspects. But then Owen switches over to the whole King of Hearts thing, and they go to the Blue Blazer. Owen then, after a while, took the Blue Blazer gimmick and went over. Some fans booed him, some fans cheered him as the Blue Blazer. And on May 23rd of 1999, Owen Hart had a tragic thing. And, if you listen to Jim Cornette, or you listen to somebody, they actually go on the record. Jim Cornette says he goes on record to blame Vince Russo for the whole Owen going up into the rafters and coming down from the rafters like Superman. Some say his harness wasn't hooked right, and he actually took off a little bit sooner than he should have, and he tragically passed away due to coming down and hitting the turnbuckle and bouncing back, and I guess he broke his neck or something. I'm not really sure exactly how the main details. I'm kind of I really don't know how the exactly main details went to, but I'll never forget this moment right here that I saw that really to me brought tears to my eyes. This moment right here. But it was that moment right there that stopped the pay per view of Over the Edge. I think I said No Way Out previously. I do apologize for that, but it was Over the Edge. If I did say Over the Edge, but it was Over the Edge of May 23rd and '09 when Jim Ross came the audience with that right there in particular that brought tears to my eyes. I loved Owen as an in-ring performer. I thought that he was absolutely the best ever to ever lace up boots. He was really, really great. And to have him tragically die like that was absolutely bad. It was absolutely shocking for the for the professional wrestling world when that actually happened. Uh, After that happened, there was a big old fiasco, that happened. But they continued on with the show. And a lot of people say that they should have quit the show and ended it right there. But they said Owen would have wanted the show to go on. Raw had the 24th of May of '99. Raw had a show where they took the 2 hours that they were back in there and dedicated it to Owen. Uh, Wrestlers would talk about Owen and all the things that they had, and there was a lot of wrestlers that I forget which wrestler it was that actually talked about it, but they talked about how Owen. A lot of people would tell you Owen loved to play practical jokes on people, and Owen loved to actually rib people. They would call it rib people. And one of the practical jokes they played on was Harley Race, Harley Race, of course, passed away uh, here. This is recorded, of course, August of 2019. Harley Race, one of the greatest of all time, passed away. And they would say that when they come over to Kansas City uh, for for like a Raw or maybe a pay-per-view or whatever it was, everybody would go over to Harley Race's, and he had this big old barbecue over there. And Harley was famous for his chili. Everybody used to love going over there to get that Harley Race chili because Harley was pretty good at making chili, and all the wrestlers would come over there, and they'd all come over there, and they'd all hang out with Harley over there, Harley Races for the barbecue, and Harley would have his chili. Well, Owen decided to take these bottles of hot sauce called Insanity, and some people say it's like one bottle, some people say it's 3 bottles, whatever. But he put all these bottles of hot sauce in there, and everybody's going around after they eat the chili. They're going around getting water or whatever they got to get to actually get this hot taste out of their mouth, because this Insanity hot sauce, I guess, was pretty hot. And everybody there, and Owen's just sitting there all calm and cool, like kind of snickering to himself, they say, because Owen didn't touch the chili because he knew it was in there. But everybody's gasping, and everybody's wanting to reach for water or reach for whatever they can to get that, to kind of get their mouth from not being on fire. But some say that that was probably, to me, that was one of the funniest things. I would love to have been there to see to see that. That would have been something to see, and I would probably have been sitting there right next to Owen, laughing hysterically. I wouldn't have been like calm and cool like Owen was. But I remember that I said, I forget what wrestler told that about that there, but Harley Race's famous chili that Owen had sat there and done. It was pretty. It probably was a pretty intense moment, and like I said, I think I would have been sitting there laughing, and it would have been funny to watch. But they said Owen was a practical joker. Owen loved to do things backstage. He would Some say that Owen would hide wrestlers' shampoos or wrestlers' towels, or he would just do whatever he could to play practical jokes. Owen was a very, very funny person to be around. Owen didn't, he didn't have any bad vibe about him. Owen was always the one to joke around. He always joked around. But after WWF, after that tragic moment there for WWF when Owen passed, his wife Martha Hart, his widow, tried to sue WWF for that situation and all that other stuff, and I think they're taking care of her to this day about Owen, making sure that she's taken care of financially and stuff, so she don't have to worry. But Owen is not in the WWE Hall of Fame. Owen is not really mentioned as much as he should be. As professional wrestling, sports entertainment fans, we don't get that luxury of seeing Owen in WWE video games here in this present day. Earlier in the distant back in the early days, in the distant memory, Owen was in some video games. I think WWF Warzone. I think Owen was in WWF Warzone. I think I'm not quite sure about that. Don't quote me on that. But Owen was in a few wrestling games back in the day, back in the early '80s and stuff like that, maybe mid '90s. But Owen's never been in a video game here as of late, and that's because of Martha. Martha don't allow that. She doesn't allow him to be in the WWE Hall of Fame. And to me, Owen deserves to be in the WWE Hall of Fame, even if he goes in the WWE Hall of Fame as part of with the Hart family themselves and stuff like that. But Owen deserves to be in the WWE Hall of Fame. We, as fans of video games and fans of professional wrestling, deserve for Owen to be in that Hall of Fame. We deserve for Owen to be in video games to where we can actually play as Owen Hart. I would love to play as Owen Hart instead of actually trying to download Owen Hart from the game's community creations and stuff like that, where somebody makes Owen and you can download Owen. It just doesn't feel the same as to where he so richly deserves to be in a WWE video game. Like I said, Owen Hart, I was fortunate to see him, like I said, in that interview process. I was fortunate to be able to watch all of his matches, and I can go back and watch him on the WWE Network to actually watch him and just sit there in awe at the way Owen was. Absolutely amazing. Like I said, he was a practical joker, and I would have loved to have been able to actually meet Owen Hart, to actually, cut up with him and stuff like that, because he was just absolutely an amazing talent, and he's sorely missed. I wonder today how many, in 1999, I wonder today, how Owen Hart, the impact he would have put on some of the stars today, maybe some of the things that he, some of the advice that he could give them, some of the, maybe he would be, in a Hall of Fame, where he'd come back for a WWE Raw reunion, and be able to, we'd be able to see him shine in some aspect. But unfortunately, Owen's tragic death in 1999 was something that really rocked WWF back in the day to its core. A lot of people have really not gotten over it. I, for one, have not gotten over it. But I, for one, would have loved to have seen him be a part of WWE video games and WWE Hall of Fame, stuff like that, like I said. But unfortunately, his wife Martha forbids us as professional wrestling fans to actually see that. But yeah, we're talking Owen Hart. I could probably go on and on talking about Owen because he is one of my favorite all-time in-ring performers. Loved watching him and miss him. Would miss him a lot. This has been the WWE Superstar Spotlight Series. This has been The Godfather, aka Wolfman Lewis, Godfather, aka the Godfather, Wolf. And I thank you all for watching. I am out.